IA softball regular season has wrapped up, and now all that's left is tournaments. First, teams must fight through their conference tournament in order to earn an auto bid to the NAIA tournament. And luckily for you, Siouxland, both pods in the GPAC tournament are right in your backyard. We'll start off in Sioux City. Morningside taking on Hastings. Broncos up 1-0, top of the sixth. Taylor Sturg gets a hold of one. Ellie Cropley's ranging back. She's at the track, and it's gone. The two-run shot shoots the Broncos out to a 3-0 lead. Bottom half of the inning, try to keep up here. It's hard. Vanessa Boslowski's in scoring position. Ellie Cropley sends a ground ball to second. Throw to first isn't in time. Now Boslowski's got a big turnaround third. She distracts first base. Cropley then takes off for second. Throw to second's not in time. Boslowski takes off. Throw home's not in time. And the Mustangs are closing in. It's a 3-1 ball game. After a bases loaded strikeout, Morningside down to their final out. Boslowski sends a grounder to second, and that will do it. Hastings wins that one 3-1. Since they lost, the Mustangs, they were fighting for their season against Jamestown. We'll pick things up in the bottom of the fourth. Morningside up 1. Boslowski gets the bunt down. That brings in 1, and the throw to first is wild, so another run scampers home, and it's 3-0 Mustangs. Same inning. Michael Ann Gray sends a ground ball to third. Now she's thrown out. Runner on second advances, and that throws wild. Vanessa Boslowski's able to walk home here. She could have, and the Mustangs win this one 5-0. Head up to Orange City. Red Raiders are the top seed, taking on Mount Marty. We'll pick things up in the bottom of the second inning. Northwestern's Maddie Kavatek rips that one up the middle. That leaves enough time for Chloe Gallegos to dash on home from second, and the Red Raiders go up 1-0. Now the top of the fifth we go. Mount Marty's Lino Nihi launches one out to right field. Lots of time for Janaea Castro to kick it into gear and score all the way from second. Lancers get on the board, but it's still 4-1 Northwestern. Later in the fifth, Cameron Etherin sends a missile out to deep center, and it hits off the defender's glove and over the wall. Just like that, it's a Red Raiders home run. Northwestern takes the win in that one, 5-2. Fourth-seeded Dordt defenders taking on fifth-seeded Briar Cliff in Orange City. We'll pick things up in the bottom of the first. Dordt gets things started. Aurora Tyson floats one out to center field. That brings Chandler Schemper home, and Dordt takes that 1-0 lead. Later on, bottom of the third inning we go now. Chandler Schemper launches one, but it's an out in left field. Then Briar Cliff heaves the ball to first to get the double play. What a throw there. To the top of the fifth we go. Briar Cliff's Allie Nauman muscles one way out to left center. A big play for the Chargers that brings in not one, but 2 runners home as she slides in safely to take the lead. Briar Cliff hangs on to take the win 2-1, and that gets them a new program record of 33 wins. After both taking wins, that means Northwestern and Briar Cliff square off in the winner's bracket. The Red Raiders waste no time in the bottom of the first. Bases loaded. Cameron Etherington says, "See ya" for a grand slam. Not only that, that's her second homer of the day to put Northwestern up 4-0. Into the bottom of the third we go now. Ashton Billings. She's just going to give it a little light tap on the bunt. Look at Jewel Bergstrom flying home. She slides in safely. That makes it 6-0 Red Raiders. Still in the third. Ellie Jacobson pops one up to left field. The Chargers go flying, not knowing quite where it is. Ball drops. In comes Gwen Michelson, and the Red Raiders win in 5 innings, 9-0. By the way, guys, that was a no-hitter for Red Raider pitcher Kate Crowder.